I basically think, like, all things being equal, the teams that win are the teams that are better at making decisions and better at communicating with each other. All things are not equal. We also have a better product than our competitors and better strategy and so on and so forth, I hope. But we still need to be really good at making decisions, and we need to get really good at communicating as a team. And last week, while I was in check-ins, I kept kind of jumping onto this same idea. So I thought I'd quickly talk about that. This is going to seem very, very simple, almost to the level of stupid, but sometimes stupidly simple things are useful. I think there's three ways we can make decisions. Oops. One is the star, where each point is a different person involved in an elaborate conversation. And let's call that mo people, mo problems. And sometimes we have to do that because some decisions are really complex or really big one-way doors. But it's sort of slow and so not ideal. And the second one is what we'll call let's send this up, which is where you really can't make a decision, or it's a one-way door, but maybe a small one-way door, and you want to get approval for it from your manager or from someone else. And sometimes we have to do that. But usually when you want to do this, you probably can do this, which is just make the decision with the other person you're working with or alone. And as you can see here, we've moved from 5 people in a decision or 5 points in the decision to 3 to 2 or even 1. And that's obviously a very efficient way of making a decision. So we'll call that, we got this. And I would say use that for most decisions, and it saves you and everyone else time and energy. I think most things we do are two-way doors. We can reverse them if they go horribly wrong, and the world will not end if we screw up. So that's 3 ways to think about making decisions. And I would encourage you to, like, if you're doing this, you notice this going on, the star, or you kind of feel like you want to be in the triangle, kind of question, do I need to be doing it this way? Do we need to be doing it this way? And challenge that publicly. You know, I'd love to see that getting challenged more publicly, because we'll all move faster. Even if we make more mistakes, we'll still move faster if we do more straight lines. And I think we can also talk about 3 ways to communicate, e.g. with giving feedback or communicating tough news or challenging things. Again, this is going to seem pretty simple, but here are 3 ways we can communicate. The first one is stars. Let's call that mo people, mo politics. And it's everyone's diving in and there's loads of politics about something, which means we're not really focusing on the customer problem and the mission. We're kind of talking shop a lot. And the second one is, I'm going to my manager, which sometimes you have to do. But this does slow things down. You know, you start triangulating, and then more and more people get involved, and there are more and more triangles forming around the company, and everyone is suddenly helping other people communicate rather than focusing on customer problems and focusing on our work and the mission. And then finally, there's the Telum model. And this is great for most communication. More direct communication means we grow faster, we move faster. And it's not always the right thing to do. But I think even for when I'm thinking about how to communicate, I'm trying to challenge myself to use more straight lines and just tell people stuff that I feel is kind of a bit awkward or difficult to tell them. And as I thought about this last week, my main thought was that straight lines are awesome and powerful. Startups grow fast because we can be autonomous. Big companies are really, really bad at doing this. Startups are really good at doing it. And the longer we can maintain this, the better. We all grow faster as individuals if we communicate more directly, if we make decisions more directly. And when we make mistakes, we're learning. And when we screw up, we're learning. And when we have to reverse through 2-way doors and do it again, we're learning. And so that's not a bad thing to fail. And everybody saves time if we have a high percentage of straight lines in our decisions and communication. And if you took a piece of paper and you drew everyone in the company, and then you drew lots of straight lines, rather than lots of triangles or stars, you'd see there'd be many more decisions being made, a lot more communication happening, a lot more feedback being given. So those straight lines are really powerful. They like magnify the amount of work we can do and the amount we grow. And then finally, if you feel afraid of making a decision or saying something directly, and I get this all the time, I often feel afraid of giving feedback or afraid of making a tough decision, just try it. And I think the way I ask myself this is like, how wrong could it go? Like, what's the worst possible thing that could happen? And if the worst possible thing that happens, we have to apologize to some customers, or we have to give some refunds, or I have to actually go for lunch with someone to make up for some, you know, we got into a bit of an argument about something. Adit and I have done this a million times. We have to patch up our relationship after I give some feedback and he gets upset or I get upset about his feedback. That's kind of fine because then we're growing and then we're learning. So my kind of key takeaway is try it. You know, try to act autonomously, try to make the decision, and then work backwards from straight lines up to stars if you really have to.